I'm joined today by Dr. Arnie Cole, the CEO of Back to the Bible. He is also, of course, involved with the Center for Bible Engagement. He works on using media and technology to lead people to a more dynamic relationship with Jesus Christ. And we're here, Dr. Cole, to talk about the Bible. We're here to talk about men and pornography. So as a researcher, let's start. What is your overall sense of how much of a problem pornography is for men in the United States?
Well, you know, Dave, as a researcher, it's not so much about what I think, but what people tell me is most people, pornography, regardless of their religious background, pornography is a problem in their lives spiritually.
Okay, and then when you say that as a researcher, this is what people have told you, give us a sense of the scientific conditions and how your research has been set up such that we can trust that data.
Yeah, we've studied about 130,000 people across the world, about 100,000 from the United States. We've done general population surveys as well, where we use random sampling. And most people that we survey, regardless of lifestyle, tell us that pornography is a problem. And basically what it comes down to is no one wants whoever they're having a relationship with thinking lustful thoughts about someone else, if that makes sense.
But so then is the problem with those who are using or consuming the pornography, or is the problem with those who are family or relatives of those? Because you said you studied those who indicate that pornography is a problem for them, but now you're saying the real issue is individuals don't like the idea of their significant others using pornography. So which is it, Dr. Cole?
Oh, it's both. It's both. Some people have a double standard, but what we see it is pornography is a distraction for relationships. To have a true relationship with someone else, it's a big problem. It's also a problem for young people. We know that boys, especially starting from the age of 11, look at pornographic material between 50 to 60 times a week on the internet. We also know young girls have a problem starting at around 14, accidentally coming along pornography. So it is something that affects just about everybody who's hooked into the internet in this society.
So do you include yourself in that? I mean, are you a regular, casual, or occasional viewer of pornography on the internet?
No, I'm not. That's not a problem that, fortunately, I've had, and maybe it's because I study it so much.
So because you study pornography so much, you never kind of consume it yourself. That's interesting. Is there any connection, Dr. Cole, between studying the Bible and pornography consumption in your research?
Yeah, what we have found is people that have a relationship with Jesus Christ that's based on engaging the Bible 4 or more times a week, that their behavior is radically different than other people. So yes, we do see a difference.
And what do you attribute that connection to? In other words, I'm hearing you say that higher Bible consumption, for lack of a better term, seems to correlate with lower porn consumption. What do you think is the cause of that?
I think it's probably because of a relationship with Jesus Christ, a personal relationship. A lot of people in America say, of course I'm a Christian. I was born in America.
Okay, so in your mind, if someone consumes pornography and self-describes as a Christian, if we were to somewhat kind of like run that through an evaluator machine that tells us, does this compute into someone being a Christian, consuming porn would not be compatible with Christianity. Am I hearing that correctly?
I would say that that's correct. What I'm not saying is that they're not a Christian or not going to heaven. What I would be saying is that they're struggling spiritually.
And then what very specifically is the negative? You've kind of talked around the issue where the spouse doesn't like the consumption of porn by their significant other, or it's bad for the person who's watching porn. But very, very specifically here, and again, you are a researcher, Dr. Cole, what are the negative effects of the porn consumption?
what we see, basically, we define temptation, okay, as thinking about those things that are wrong for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when people spend an inordinate time thinking about things that are wrong for them, they've already self-defined this. This isn't me.
Okay, so very specifically, do we have any examples from your research of how thinking about porn or watching porn gets people into real life trouble? Even just one or two examples, so people can get an idea.
Oh, sure. Thinking about someone else, using pornographic material in that can lead to affairs. We've seen that.
So, like, what's a
Because
very specific problem that because you're king in the world of internet porn, what's a specific way that then that causes a problem in just your everyday relationships?
Sure, because psychosexual relationships between one person and another doesn't function the same as in the virtual world.
But can you tell us specifically how?
Sure.
How it's worse?
Sure. You've got in the virtual world a world that is always ready, always willing to please, regardless of circumstance. It creates an image of what a physical relationship should be or the expectation of, but the problem with it, it doesn't allow for the other individual's needs. So you're building, especially in children's minds. I don't know about you, Dave, but if you have a daughter, the view that people are getting, they're building in their mind of what sexuality is and healthy sexuality is completely different from reality. And we see that by the 130,000 people that we've interviewed. Most people think that if I think something, it really doesn't hurt anybody. But what we found is when you think about things that are wrong for you, it creates a barrier between either you and the person you're with, or a spiritual barrier in your relationship with as a Christian or with Jesus Christ. Or if you're not a believer, it creates a barrier between you and the other person.
So I don't want to criticize the research that you've done, although I read everything I could find about it online, and I have to tell you that I think that some of the so-called research was not really done under what we would consider traditional scientific lab observation settings. What I did find, Dr. Cole, that I found interesting and contradictory with a lot of your views is that there is increasing evidence that there may actually be positive effects to pornography being part of our culture. There are studies reported in The Scientist which widely say that pornography availability and consumption could reduce the incidence of sex crimes, for example. We have also, if we look at Michael Goldstein and Harold Kant's research, they found that rapists are more likely than non-rapists in the prison population to have been punished for looking at pornography. And it actually turns out that this kind of anti-porn movement, often connected with religion and furthering relationships with Jesus Christ, may be significantly damaging and may increase the likeliness of sex crimes. So I think that when we look at the scientific data, in contrast to the 130,000 people that you've, quote, surveyed, we've got drastically different results here.
I would disagree with you on a lot of realms. First of all, you haven't talked specifically about the flaws in our research.
In part, Dr. Cole, is because there's very little information online and you're kind of not telling me anything. I try to prod and ask, and you say, well, people have told us. Well, hold on. Have you actually done a controlled study where we are testing and measuring for a variety of specific factors, adjusting for socioeconomic, racial, and other backgrounds? You're telling me you've interviewed a lot of people and you take what they say.
And Dave, I'm not sure what world you live in, but if you take pornography and you combine that with violent videos and children spending, 10,000 hours, that I believe is the equivalent of 2 Bachelor of Arts degrees, doing video games and then watching 55 porn flicks a week. If you think that's good for your children and that brings up a healthy young man who you want to date your daughter, then, dude, I am shocked that you would say that. This
Well,
is
hold on a second,
better
Dr. Cole. Dr. Cole, you're shocked that I would say something that I never said. You just said, Dr. Cole, David, if you think playing 10,000 hours of video game and watching 55 consecutive porn movies is a good thing, then you're shocked that I said that. I didn't say that. What I am saying is based simply in fact, which is that there is nothing specific about pornography separate from alcohol or marijuana or anything else, which is at its base damaging to society. Like with anything else, people can become addicted to video games or alcohol or pornography. But the idea that has been widely presented and accepted as true, that pornography in and of itself is inherently addictive, is something that's been rejected by mental health. It's been rejected by medicine, and there is nothing unique about pornography as addictive or the 55 porn movies in a row. I think that what we have here, I'll be honest with you, I think what we have here is a situation where, for religious reasons, many want to pass moral judgment on pornography.
Got it. I understand. There's a lot of bad research out there. What I'm telling you is, we ask people open-ended questions. Tell us things that you feel are harmful for you, period.
To answer the question of you don't see where you're leading people with Jesus or religion, the way you're leading people in that way is that you say that the way to resist that temptation is by studying scripture and building a religious relationship with Jesus, and that is leading. It is taking that's where it is opportunistic, because there is nothing sacred, for lack of a better term,
Okay,
about
Dave.
avoiding vices, if that's what they are, by going to Jesus. Dr. Arnie Cole from the Center of Bible Engagement. We didn't
Thanks,
agree
Dave.
on much, but I do appreciate having you on.
Hey, I enjoyed it. Anytime. Thanks a lot.